Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
In Louisiana, police are in the midst of the largest prison escape in the state's history, and we have up-to-the-minute details on that escape. In South Carolina, a woman and her boyfriend are arrested in the murder of her hairstylist. In Texas, a Good Samaritan helps a Houston man move some furniture and makes a shocking discovery. These stories and more coming at you today on the Crime Wire Weekly. I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Kelly Jennings.
And look, we are coming up on Memorial Day.
Ooh.
My favorite holiday out of all the holidays. A lot of people say Christmas. A lot of people say Halloween. For me, it's Memorial Day. In some ways, some people have lost touch with the sacrifice that is required to live in this beautiful country.
Absolutely. And I'm so proud, though, that I've grown up in a family. My daddy's a Marine, my stepdaddy, but my daddy's a Marine. And the stories that I've heard that he's lived through at 19 years old in the jungles of Vietnam, carrying back people that didn't make it, but carrying them back so that they could have a burial. And I think about what I was doing at 19 years old, drunk on a college campus, and what these people have done for us, and those that have given that ultimate sacrifice. There's no way to repay that.
I'm actually doing a special episode on the Exposed Scandalous Files of the Elite, dropping it on Memorial Day, where I have the absolute honor of covering a hero, someone who gave their life for this country. I actually spoke to her family, Gold Star family. Means a lot to be able to tell her story, because a lot of people don't know the stories, who these people were outside of what happened to them.
Semper Fi, I guess I'll say that to all of those out there that we've lost. And then on Veterans Day, I'm going to Semper Fi again for all the veterans who made it home and continue to live with everything that they went through. But
I did want to say, take a minute this Memorial Day and pay homage, if you will, to those who are not here any longer. Pray for their families. Yeah. They still suffer. But we'll get into today's episode, and Louisiana, we're going there first, our home state.
Holla!
So a manhunt for 10 inmates is still occurring from New Orleans. They made a brazen escape from a jail last week. It was one of the largest, if not the largest, such breaks in Louisiana history. Now, authorities at this point in time, when we're recording this episode, they've captured 5 of these inmates, but 5 are still on the run. A maintenance worker was actually charged Tuesday with aiding in that escape. This bolstered suspicions that it was an inside job. Someone on the inside was involved.
100%.
Yeah. And
100%.
From the beginning, they had been saying that there had to be some help here. The 10 inmates escaped from Orleans Parish Justice Center. This was at around 1 a.m. on Friday. They removed a toilet seat and sink from a cell where a water supply had been turned off. That was your clue. Someone on the inside was helping. The inmates cut steel bars. They got out through a rectangle hole in that wall, and they left behind. This is the part that is absolutely mind-blowing. So they graffiti the wall before they leave. And they had some pretty interesting messages on there. One of them was, "This was too easy, laugh out loud." Another one was, "Catch us if you can." I mean, they're taunting police with this graffiti. Now, police start investigating, and the first day they catch 3 of these people like right off the bat within that 24-hour first day time period. So it looked like, hey, These guys are all going to get caught in short order. However, it got very slow after that as far as the captures. They have captured 2 others. 5 are still on the loose. And look, these are not people that were in jail for tax evasion, folks. These are almost all murderers. 2 of the 10 that escaped had histories of escaping. And here's the interesting thing to me, KJ. They were in a minimum security wing of that prison, of that jail. Makes absolutely no sense to me why murderers or people charged with murder were in a minimum security wing. Those are the ones you want to keep away from everybody.
Well, okay, so this is where my mind goes. So I worked in classification at Angola, and so I have some experience in this, and it makes me wonder if maybe some of them were there possibly because they had enemies in their jacket or enemies in their record, and so they couldn't be housed in the same place. And so maybe, I mean, it's a stretch. I know it's a stretch, but maybe if I had to think of why that would be, maybe that was it. But the fact that we've got this many inmates in the middle of the night having that much movement is an absolute atrocity. Give me a break. Now, we could go on and on this, but I'll summarize. You know, we have lack of funding. We don't have a lot of people. I'm sure they had minimum security on staff probably at night versus during the day. All of that is a whole nother thing that you have to argue about funding and everything. But there should not be any movement at night. And looking at the picture too, and I want to encourage people to go look at the picture. If you're not familiar,
or the video for that matter.
Right. But I'm saying the picture of where they escaped from, because if you're not familiar with a cell setup, it's not very big. And if you look to the right, you're going to see bunk beds. It's just like a script out of Prison Break, what they did, literally. But why in the hell were 11 or 10 inmates in one cell at one time at any point in the night, and nobody noticed that? Plus, you have to do count, okay? And count is a physical inspection of your inmates, like physical bodies.
And that's the other shocking thing to this story is the next count that they did after the escape was at 8:30 in the morning.
Huge break.
That's when they noticed, wait a minute, we're not 1 off, we're 10 off on our count. And actually, at the time, it was 11 off, but they found out, and this is another problem with this prison. Initially, the reports came out there were 11 people that had escaped. One of them never escaped. They didn't realize he had been moved to another wing of the prison. So they didn't even know where the prisoners were at that were supposed to be in prison.
Look, I'm going to tell you something. In a school, we take roll every hour. You know why? Because people who don't want to be there will disappear and go where they're not supposed to be.
I got to go to the bathroom.
You're going to have, I mean, the transfer obviously should have been on the rosters. First of all. Second of all, so your rosters weren't updated and someone made a movement of an inmate without your knowledge? Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
Think of how many people that is moving.
Yeah, I know.
And then, I don't know if this is survival of the fittest or what you want to call it, but then some of the dumbasses never even made it out of the quarter. So they were picked up right then. And by the way, they from NOLA to the Gola because they took them down to Angola now to lock them up. So have fun there because you had air conditioning and everything else where you were. Now you're going out to Angola where there's no air conditioning. You screwed yourself on that one, partner.
There's still 5 on the loose. And the biggest problem with this scenario, folks, is there's witnesses out there. Some of these cases have not been adjudicated. And there's witnesses out there set to testify against some of these individuals. So if they go after people, that's who they're going to go after. Yeah. You want to eliminate people that can finger you for a murder or some sort of other incident.
Absolutely.
So hopefully they catch them.
And to
soon.
Anybody who's aiding and helping them in this, shame on you.
Well, they're going to go to jail as well.
You need to.
Yeah.
You need to. So, hey, keep your head on a swivel, Nola. All right, well, now let's move on to Texas, where a mother has been arrested for allegedly buying ammunition and tactical gear for her son, who she knew was planning a mass targeted violence at his school. Prosecutors say Ashley Pardo, 33 years old, was aware of her son's obsession with violence and intentionally and knowingly aided his violent goals in exchange for babysitting his younger siblings. On Monday, the student showed up to Jeremiah Rhodes Middle School in San Antonio wearing a mask, camouflage jacket, and tactical pants, but left shortly after, police said. He was later detained off campus. The mother was arrested the same day after the boy's grandmother called police to say Miss Pardo had bought the gun for him. On Saturday, the boy's grandmother walked into his bedroom and found him playing with live ammunition and a hammer. Police said that the student, who's not been named, told his grandmother on Monday that he was, quote, going to be famous before leaving for school. Prosecutors say that in January, school officials discovered a map he had drawn of Jeremiah Rhodes Middle School labeled Suicide Route. The student then reportedly told officials that he had a fascination with past mass shooters, including their manifestos. In April, he was suspended for using a school computer to research previous mass school shootings. After time attended at an alternative school, he returned to his middle school on May the 8th. Officials say Ms. Pardo was aware of the threats made by her son. So she was charged with 1 count of aiding and commission of terrorism, court records are showing. She was released from custody on Tuesday after posting a $75,000 bail and is due to return to court on the 17th of July. Police have been increasingly moving to hold parents accountable for their children's violence.
This kid had a roadmap to it. You're looking up school shootings.
Yeah.
You're looking up people that have manifestos for school shootings.
Yeah. And
all of that.
Took it far enough
Major red flag.
that even the school felt it was dangerous enough to send him to an alternative school. They didn't even want him on their campus, but they're limited by their rules and regulations. He's got to be able to come back because that's the rules.
That's right. And parents need to pay attention. Well, let's lighten it up a little bit. And we're going to go back to Louisiana.
Hey.
And some people in Louisiana, and we're going to talk about this, but some people are screaming there's been a robbery.
Oh, God, what happened?
Well, John Foster did not win American Idol. I know. And it sucks. Super talented guy. And look, everybody in Louisiana, y'all, is proud of John Foster. Second place.
Absolutely.
No joke in that competition. 20, I think they said something like 26 million votes just for the finale. So just to recap what went on and why people are screaming that this might have been a crime. This guy's an 18-year-old LSU biology major. He's from Addis, Louisiana. In fact, if you're not familiar with Addis, it is right outside of Baton Rouge, very small town. He rose to national attention as a kind of a classic country singer. Reminded me a lot of George Strait. Ultimately, he became the second place behind Jamal Roberts, 27, who is a PE teacher from Meridian, Mississippi, with a, let's just say, amazing voice.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Incidentally, Brianna Nix, a 25-year-old stay-at-home mom from Denton, Texas, also in that running for that prize. And I'll tell you, wow, what a beautiful voice she had. Sounded to me like Carrie Underwood, very, very close in voice and very close in those high notes as well. She could hit them. We're just proud as hell that he got there.
I'm so tickled, really. Just he's a young man and he's got it. He's got whatever that factor is. He's so comfortable on the stage and he sings. It's genuine. It's believable. And I think there's like a thing about if you don't win, people who come in second and third tend to do the best as far as their careers go.
Yeah.
So you can't lose in this. Jamal did great. I love the Disney night that he sang.
He was amazing.
Yeah, and shout out, man, a PE teacher up there just killing
and seemingly really good guy.
Absolutely. And I love when good people win.
Yeah.
You know, when good people make it.
They're all good. You know, all of those, I'm sure, were good kids.
Good job, guys. All right, well, now let's move on to Florida. We got all the southern states here just covered. It seems like we've gone from to Texas, Mississippi, and all that.
going on in the South.
I'm telling you. So we'll be in Tampa, Florida, where a palliative care doctor is facing federal charges after allegedly coercing minors to produce sex abuse material and physically harm themselves. 59-year-old Stephen Leedy is accused of speaking with about 10 juveniles online under the username Maximum Uncle Number 9112 and telling them to take sexually explicit images of themselves. Leedy also allegedly instructed the victims to, quote, cut, choke, and hang themselves. In a motion for pretrial detention, prosecutors said Leedy's victims lived across the country. Leedy reportedly never revealed his true identity on his online social media application, and when he spoke to the minor victims over video chat, he maintained a black screen to further conceal his identity. Prosecutors argued that everything that Leedy instructed these minor victims to do was either physically or mentally detrimental to the minor victims, and that he took advantage of children more than half his age to gratify himself. The U.S. Attorney's Office said one minor hanged herself in front of her phone in a manner consistent with Leedy's instructions on November 2021. Investigators reportedly found communication between the victim and Leedy. The defendant faces 3 counts of production of child sexual abuse material and 2 counts of coercing or enticing a minor to engage in sexual activity. If convicted, Leedy faces up to life in federal prison. His attorney said it's particularly important in moments like this, when someone is being accused of very troubling allegations, that we afford him the presumption of innocence. We will be entering a not guilty plea at the earliest opportunity and look forward to vigorously defending Mr. Leedy in court. Leedy's wife is reportedly the chief administrative officer of the Juvenile Welfare Board of Pinellas County. A statement from the board said Leedy's arrest was a complete shock to all. Leedy previously worked as chief medical officer at a hospice center owned by Empath Health. The company said in a statement that he had not been employed by them for over 10 years, adding, while there has been minimal professional interaction with him since then, he has not been employed by Empath Health for more than a decade.
I just don't understand even what the freaking motivation is to do something like that. Like, someone's brain works in a totally different way than I can ever fathom to encourage anyone to commit suicide. This guy was doing it to...
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Several minors. How disgusting.
You are beyond a horrible individual. All right, well, let's move on to New Jersey. Joyzy, baby. The owner of an illicit New Jersey spa was busted on prostitution charges after police raided her racy business and home, seizing luxury goods, a Tesla, and a teddy bear stuffed with $600,000 in cash.
Dang.
I'm telling you. Danielle Dieno, 47 years old, and 4 other women were arrested Thursday when cops stormed Bliss Spa in Edison in a coordinated takedown following a year-long undercover operation. The probe also targeted Diano's home, where detectives seized $650,000 in cash, including the hefty sum which was sewn inside of that cuddly toy teddy bear, a 2025 Tesla Model Y, and Rolex watches. Authorities also recovered an additional $104,373 from the spa owner's bank accounts, making it the largest asset seizure in the township's history. This operation is a direct result of the commitment and coordination between departments and agencies that have worked tirelessly to target and dismantle organized criminal enterprises operating under the guise of legitimate business. The amount of cash seized and the elaborate concealment methods used show just how sophisticated and profitable these illegal operations can be. We will continue our efforts to rid our community of these establishments. And like we said, police also arrested 4 other women. They were each charged with engaging in or soliciting prostitution and released on summonses. It wasn't immediately clear the role the 4 women played in the prostitution ring. Delano was hit with first-degree money laundering, second-degree promoting organized street crime, third-degree promoting prostitution, and fourth-degree maintaining a house of prostitution. She was being held at the Middlesex County Adult Correction Center pending a detention hearing. The spa's business license was also suspended after it was slapped with multiple health code violations.
Huh.
Right?
I bet.
The lewd joint is the latest risque racket to close since Edison officials started cracking down on local establishments with alleged connections to prostitution and narcotics in 2022. It looks like I'm in the wrong business, Jim.
Right?
Good Lord, that's a lot of cash.
$600,000 in a teddy bear.
What? How
Interesting
big was
place
this
to
teddy
hide
bear?
$600,000 in cash. Must have been a big one. That's what I was wondering. That's got to be one of those teddy bears you won at a fair.
Maybe so. But, you know, I have a friend that's a canine. He has a canine, a narcotics dog, and they were searching.
Is that what a canine?
Yeah. If you didn't know what a dog was, no.
He has a canine, a narcotics dog.
A narcotics dog. Jesus. But they were searching this big business because they believed that there were drugs in it, but they could not figure these drugs out. And the dog was misbehaving because he kept running and jumping on top of this large beanbag and then getting comfy in it. And he was fussing at that dog and fussing at that dog. And then finally the canine switched up, I guess, the alert, and the handler realized it and was like, oh, crap. So they flipped this massive beanbag over, unzipped it, and sure enough, chock full of dope.
Dang.
He just thought his dog was jumping on the beanbag and acting up, but that's where the dope was, in a beanbag.
There you go.
So,
shout out to that canine.
Hey, what if it had been sold at a garage sale? Right. And you cut it open and you had all that.
Look, you know what? I've got a pretty funny short story about that. I bought a book at a garage sale one time. Old book. I used to I still like the old antique books with the cool looking binding
I
on
do
them.
too. We're nerds
gilt
like that.
And stuff. Yeah. And I'd seen one at a garage sale, bought it, and I put it on a shelf for like 6 years, never picked it up. One evening I picked it up and I started thumbing through the pages, and stuffed in the middle of the book was like a $10 bill, but it was from like the early 1900s. No, it was late 1800s. And back then the dollar bills in the United States they were very artsy. Yeah. And ended up being that bill that was stuffed in there, I sold on eBay for like $750.
Dang, you made a profit. That was worth the garage sale, huh?
Hell yeah. I only paid $1 for the book.
Well,
So check your books if you buy them from garage sales, because older people back in those days, that's where they hid their money.
Right. Well, someone got really lucky out here when we had a garage sale one year, because my mother-in-law had put a 2-carat diamond in a bag, forgot about it, and sold it for like $1 at a garage sale.
Sold the bag?
The bag with the diamond in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
make sure you don't do that.
Be careful
Check your books.
with your teddy bears, though, because they might be loaded.
All right, we're going to go to Texas, and we're going to tell you about a man that was hired to move furniture at his home. He lived in Houston, and he made a pretty shocking revelation last Friday, and that revelation led to the arrest of a murder suspect who chased the mover down. This was in a hectic scene, and it actually left the suspect bloodied. So he messed with the wrong dude. So let me tell you what happened.
FAFO, baby.
Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez said in a statement over the weekend that authorities arrested Stephen Eberly after receiving multiple 911 calls about a dramatic scene that was playing out near Eberly's home in Houston. So this guy, who was 36 years old, had allegedly hired a local man to help him move furniture at his house. The man was in the process of helping him move a heavy box out of his driveway, and he noticed a deceased individual inside the box.
What?
I know you didn't wait. I knew you weren't prepared for that.
Oh my God.
Yep, dead person inside the box that he and Eberly were attempting to move. So according to home surveillance video, the man jumped back into his pickup truck and he attempted to flee the scene after discovering the dead body. Eberly chased the man down as he was driving away, reportedly jumping onto the truck bed and attempting to break the windows of the vehicle in order to stop that man from getting away. The scene ended when the man's truck ran into another vehicle, resulting in Eberly injuring and bloodying his head. Eberly was later taken to a hospital for medical evaluation before being arrested and charged with murder. Harris County inmate records showed that he still remains in custody on a $2 million bond on that murder charge. He was also charged with tampering with evidence and attempting to take an officer's weapon because he didn't go quietly. The Sheriff Gonzalez, was quoted as saying, "This was a strange one." You think? He added that officials determined the deceased individual at the home was a contractor who had been working on that home. The victim was identified as Luis Mendez, and police are still trying to find a motive, and you can't make that shit up.
Okay, I am going to go out on a limb here and say,
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void were prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
That if you're going to murder somebody, move the body yourself.
Right.
Like hiring a moving, which I'm not making light of it.
This was just an individual. It wasn't a company. It was just a guy. He said, hey, can you help me move this? I'll pay you a few bucks.
Oh, I misunderstood what you said.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the guy's basically, sure, I'll help you. What is in this? It's heavy.
Yeah, and it smells
can you
terrible.
imagine?
So we had these people move into our neighborhood, and it was like literally their first day in our neighborhood, and their dog got run over in the highway. So I thought that I would be really nice and go get him for them.
Uh-huh.
And I put him in this rolling, don't judge me, but I had this rolling file box. And so I put him in that, and I covered him nice and neatly with a sheet that I had, and I was rolling him around the block to say, hey guys, I'm so sorry, but would you like me to help me bury him or whatever? Well, the sheet got caught under the wheel, which I did not know. And as I'm dragging it, the neighbors were watching me with a bloody sheet and dead dog legs sticking up straight out of this rolling cart. And they were texting me, but I did not know because I was rolling the body. Well, then when I get around to the back of the neighborhood, frickin' sprinklers come on. And so now I'm running with the dead body because we're getting soaked. I make it to the front door, I knock, and I let him know. And the lady said, oh, okay, we'll just do whatever you want with him and shut the door. And so there I was soaking wet with a dead body. That was scary enough. And I knew I had a dead body. I didn't imagine if you just happen upon
And
me.
this is human at that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The neighborhood still makes fun of me for that, by the way.
I'm sure.
There you go.
Did they know you at the time?
The neighborhood or the new?
Well, the person you brought
No, they didn't. No.
They didn't even know you?
No.
I thought you were a straight up nut.
No, but I couldn't. If my dog was run over, I wouldn't want to just stay there. I didn't want their kids to see it. It was at the very front of the.
Like this crazy chick picked up my dead dog and brought it to me, and
okay, well then
it's sweet, but if I didn't know you, I'd think you were a nut.
Okay, well,
but I know you, and I know you're not nuts. You just have a good heart.
So I try. I rolled him back home to my house, by the way, and I know this sounds creepy, but I made them a stepping stone with his paw print, and then I disposed of him, and I brought him the stepping stone, and their child loved it. So I'm extra.
You are. I
Hey,
agree.
Listen,
You extra.
whatever.
Very nice.
Is everyone gonna think I'm super weird because of that?
No.
Yes, they are.
No, they're
won't.
not. They probably all would have done the same thing.
Well,
Okay.
it could be worse. We could be in Alabama, okay, where a man has been charged with the murder of a missing woman who authorities suspect was intentionally struck by a vehicle, unlike the dog. That was an accident. She was intentionally struck by the vehicle. The Florence Police Department said Tuesday that human remains believed to be Autumn Page Strickland were found at a home. The 38-year-old was reported missing over the weekend. Those remains are going to be sent to a forensics lab to be analyzed for proper identification. And the suspect, Logan Rogers, 28 years old, is being held at the Lauderdale County Jail without bail pending a court hearing. Rogers was arrested earlier Tuesday at a home, and Fort said his initial charge of attempted murder was now upgraded to murder after Strickland's remains were discovered. She was last seen on May 16th, the Alabama law enforcement agency said, but they noted at the time that she may have been living with a condition that impairs her judgment. Rogers is accused of hitting her with his vehicle, which was a 2012 Kia Soul, on May 17th. He allegedly circled back after striking Strickland the first time before hitting her again with the car. Rogers allegedly came back to the scene 30 minutes later with a pickup truck and picked up Strickland's body. Strickland's body was later found to be in a burn barrel on Rogers' property, and it's believed that that was where he tried to burn her. Now, I'm looking at a picture of her, too. I want you to know she is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, she is a beautiful girl, and there was a missing person's flyer, or that they had posted or whatever, and she's just got these big blue eyes and long blonde hair, and she's just a beautiful girl. Tiny too, 5'4", 110 pounds. So I don't know. It kind of makes me sad to know that she may have had some type of mental instability or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she sure didn't deserve what she got.
No, and they don't really say much about what was going on. I don't know if it was domestic or if it was what it was. He's younger than her by 10 years.
Yeah.
So they don't really say, much about what that relationship is, but golly, man, it's bad enough you run her over not once but twice, and then you're going to
throw
go
them in a barrel. Throw her in a barrel.
and burn them.
Yeah.
That's like some cartel shit. They call that a geisa, by the way. So I did look some more up on this one because I felt like there was a little bit lacking in that article. And it said that their investigation basically began whenever she was reported missing. And it was initially thought that she was last seen leaving a Strickland hotel on what they referred to as Court Street in Florence right before 2 a.m. on Sunday. And at the time, the police thought that she was endangered because of that condition that she had. And they got multiple tips from the community. And then as they followed down those tips, they ended up finding video evidence that led them to Rogers.
I got you.
And so once they executed the warrant on his home, that's when they found her body.
Okay. That makes a little more sense. I didn't know if this was a disgruntled boyfriend or what, but apparently this is just a random dude.
From what they have said, but I'm having a hard time believing that there's no connection between the two and that this was just random.
Well, we're going to go to Florida. Tell you about a lustful lawbreaker.
Lustful?
A lustful lawbreaker.
Do tell.
This is going to be a segment at some point in time. I can only imagine the music for this one.
Get lusty. Brown chicken, brown cow.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you about a man that was arrested Wednesday after police say he was caught on surveillance video committing a lewd act inside a business in Cape Coral, Florida. So according to the Cape Coral Police Department, officers responded around 5:15 a.m. to a report of indecent exposure.
At 5:15 in the morning?
I'm sorry, p.m. Did I say a.m.? p.m., folks.
Okay.
My bad. The caller said the man was wearing a blue jacket, dark shorts, and black and white sneakers, and he was seen exposing himself inside a store. Police identified that suspect as Isaiah Rodney, who was 19. Surveillance video showed Rodney acting suspiciously in the party supply section. I mean, the party supply.
Oh my God.
That sounds like, he's holding his own party.
Yeah.
Literally. While holding a gift bag in one hand and engaging in a lewd act with the other. He was also seen walking behind several unsuspecting female customers before quickly leaving and dropping that gift bag, which prompted biohazard level cleaning.
Oh my God.
That's just what it says. Store employees described the behavior as disturbing and said they wanted to press charges. The store reported approximately $150 in damaged merchandise and cleaning costs. They literally had to clean. Yeah. Rodney was later found and arrested without incident, and he faces 1 count of indecent exposure, 1 count of criminal mischief, and property damage count under $200. He was also issued a trespass warning prohibiting him from returning to that business.
Okay, and this is an issue I have with that. That is clearly a sex offender in the making. That is clearly someone that I feel should be on some type of registry.
Well, you can't say he's a sex offender in the making, so he has to go on a registry. He has to be a sex offender to go on a registry.
Listen, that is a sex offense in my humble opinion, and I can't understand. If you're
He was in the party supply section.
masturbating,
What do you expect to go on in a party supply?
Okay, well, let me tell you why I think I'm so strongly feeling about this, because
it is. Don't nobody want to see him choking his chicken.
No, but
following
listen to
ladies
this.
around
I
the
worked
party supply
in a
section.
prison, okay?
Yeah.
And I had an inmate do that very thing to me while making rounds on a tier.
You ever seen Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah, and that's what I went through. So, hello, Clarice.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell
Swallowed his own
you,
tongue.
but if you're doing that, but I take no shit when it comes to people like this, because if you're willing to do that in a public place and unsuspecting women, you're coming up behind them, literally and metaphorically. That's disgusting. And what if it was your kid?
He definitely. I agree with you. Had they not caught him, that probably would have led to other things.
No, it will. That behavior, he is ramping up. Now, not to make light of this, but I have to tell you, my sister lives in Texas, and they have not caught this guy still to this day. But he was called the "Isn't It Little Flasher." And listen to this. This is true. You can look it up. He was running. They live in an area where it's very wooded. They call it the living forest where she lives. Anyway, and he would wear like a trench coat, and he would jump out of the woods and flash women and go, "Look how little it is," and then run away.
Okay.
All right. Hey, it's weird. It's weird.
Definitely weird.
It's so weird. I'm telling you, it's true. But this guy,
Look how little it is.
listen, that right there, that will escalate. Everybody and their mama should see the writing on the wall there that that's a pervert.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, he definitely has some issues and needs to sit down and talk to somebody about why he feels the need to choke his chicken in public.
Put your chicken back in its
Yeah.
coop, sir.
Yeah. Stay out of the party supply section.
God, stay home. Turn on the TV. Leave people alone.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. And quickly, before we get out of here, this is going to be the last episode that we have airing on this feed. So you're hearing this episode, and starting Monday, we're going to be linking you to death, supplying you with links of how you can find this show after this episode. So look for those on both of our Facebook pages. We're also going to link in this episode, if you're enjoying what you hear and you'd like to continue to hear more, in this episode, in the description, you're going to see a link to go subscribe or follow. It doesn't cost anything, but follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. I'm going to have links in this description so it'll be easy to find.
Perfect. And so I know a lot of people had asked me too about, hey, where will we find this? Where will we listen?
Yeah.
There's your answer. It's going to be its own separate show. And we would love for you to listen, and we'll keep you updated on some of the weird and wacky and also
And horrific.
devastating. Yeah.
Devastating.
Stories out there.
All those adjectives. Everybody enjoy your Memorial Day. Be safe. Remember the reason for Memorial Day.
That's right.
Everybody has them all. They have Veterans Day and Memorial Day, and they're different. Monday is a time to remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. So me and KJ can actually sit here and do this with freedom and all those beautiful things. Any final thoughts, KJ?
Just mad respect. Thank you so much. And to anybody that is a family member of anyone that gave the ultimate sacrifice, my hat is off to you. And I want you to know that it's maybe not said every day, but every time I say the pledge, every time I put my hand over my heart, your family genuinely is in my prayers.
Amen. And until next time, I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Kelly Jennings.
And we are the Crime
Wire.
Weekly. We're supposed to both say it.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
We still ain't figured it out, folks. We
we'll
ain't
do it.
going to try. We'll do it next time.
Okay.
Later.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.